When everybody goes left, you go right. Gives you a little uniqueness and gives you a tactical advantage that most people will never have the opportunity to get to.
Welcome to the Contrarian Capitalist Podcast, the ultimate destination for accredited investors and entrepreneurs seeking alternative wealth building strategies. Discover how to fast track your journey to wealth and time freedom by thinking outside the box. If you're ready to join the ranks of the Contrarian Capitalists and learn the most effective ways to reach your financial goals faster, you're in the right place. Let's get started with today's episode of the Contrarian Capitalist Podcast.
Thank you once again for listening to another episode of the Contrarian Capitalist Podcast. I'm your host and your favorite silverback, Sylvania Harrod. And in today's episode, I want to continue from the last episode of just double clicking further, because while I'm giving you concepts, and I want to give you tactics. Like I've told you about the three things that you need to go through, but I want to give you tactics and to share a personal journey of mine through that experience. So on last episode, what I was talking about was how we've been institutionalized, right? We've been used to like being zoo animals who have gone ahead and get fed and go through things. And we know when the check's going to hit. We can tell month, we arrange our entire lives around when money's coming in to when money's going out. But I'm here to tell you, there's never been a better time in life to ever find unique ways to go ahead and make money. And so, like, with that being said, what I will tell you is that it's a gift and a curse. Because here's what really happens. Once you understand, in life there's art and there's science, right? There's this thing called the science of achievement, the art of fulfillment. But when we look at it from an investing perspective, there's certain science that we can do. We can use ChatGPT to create a repeatable process. And let's just say we invest in real estate, right? The science is like you have things that you've heard of, like the 1% rule, or you predict what asset class you want to invest money into, yada, yada, yada. Then there's the art. The art piece is where the magic actually happens. In today's society, where it would take historically for me to go ahead and build a document or build a report, I would go spend 3, 4, maybe 5 hours building out a document to send to a client. You know what they got today? I can take a recording, post it into there, and within 60 seconds, I got everything I need to do. I can take a transcript from a call, post it, boom, email, sent, done. Do you know how amazing that is? To live in a reality that's there? I think there's never been a better time to invest in certain items, because it's like there's this vortex of stuff that's happening in humanity that's changing right in front of our eyes. Let's just look at this. Like, there's some facts I'm going to give you. Real estate historically was geographically based. Or I would even say it's more like not just geographically, it was region based. You did stuff within a driving radius of your hometown. If you were in a heavily populated area, you just went in that area. You didn't have to go to different states. You didn't have to go to other places. Like, you could just do it in your backyard. And that's where everything was. You had to know the right bank, who knew the market, who knew that information. You had to know the right contractors, who knew that access, who knew that information, because that's the only way of finding it out. They were primarily driven by networking events. So you had to go to the local real estate investor club and go there and shake hands, kiss babies, and pet unicorns, right? That's what you had to do. But this little thing called technology changed the game. So imagine you're an investor who has, let's say, $100,000 to park in assets. I didn't know somebody in my backyard. I didn't have money to put it anywhere. Then COVID happened. And there was a fundamental transformation to where now that same investor used to only have deals that were located in their backyard. Not anymore. Now that investor has choice, because they can be at a space where I can diversify what properties I have. I can never see a property and still get a great return. I have properties all throughout the United States. I ain't seen a damn one of them. Don't really care to. I've seen pictures of them, but I've never walked them. I don't plan to. What I care about: numbers, returns, and cash flow. So I got the three tiers: cash flow, appreciation, depreciation. And in some form of element, I'm gathering 1, 2, or 3. That's it, y'all. Because I now have leverage. I have the ability. I see my team sits there and we see about 100 deals a month. And that's just because we haven't turned up the dial yet. 100 deals. Whereas historically, you might get 100 deals a year if you were lucky. A year. So in 1 week's worth, just think of it. Just do the math, right? Let's say there's 100 deals a year. I'm getting 100 a week. I'm legitimately getting, over the span of, let's say you got 52 weeks. So that's 5,200 opportunities. I see. Take 2 weeks off, 5,000, right? I'm getting 50 years worth of information over the span of a year. So what does that mean? I have much more choices. But for most people, a lot more choices means do nothing. And I'm gambling on people doing nothing. Because I know I'm going to execute, because I trained myself and got comfortable with executing. So guess what happens? Now I'm seeing super high quality deals every day. And I can pick and choose. I can understand macroeconomic trends. I realize things like being by the coast is always a good thing. Humanity in general wants to be near the coast. You got a majority of the population of the United States in one part of the country on the coastline. Because historically, shipping, that's how we got food. That's how we got it. That's how we got anything. It's like you had to be near the coast because that fish wasn't going to make it out to Ohio. Logistically speaking, it makes sense. So what does that mean for you tactically? What that means is, this is why personally, I always have a mentor in different arenas. If there's something I want to learn about, I create a process where I never don't have a mentor. Because I realized, let's look at facts. The best athletes in their categories have specialists that follow them around. Tom Brady had a quarterback coach. He had a nutrition coach. He had a strength coach. He had these different people that were always in the corner. He had a mindset coach. All in his corner at all times. Same thing happened with MJ. All of this. But in society, we're never taught that, because remember, we're institutionalized. So we're never taught, we're taught to do it on your own and go through it and have that. And you realize, when in history we didn't do that. That's how you get better. When everybody goes left, you go right. Gives you a little uniqueness and gives you a tactical advantage that most people will never have the opportunity to get to. Which is also why you'll live a life that most people will never get an opportunity to. That's the coolest part about doing this. So tactically, that's why I like to have a mentor. Now, the second piece I told you about, which was have a plan, right? My numbers may be off, but don't worry about that. Don't get into semantics. Have a plan. How the hell are you going to know what type of plan to write unless you're talking to somebody who's actually done what you're looking to do? You can't. ChatGPT can't give that to you. That's the art piece, right? Science can tell you, oh, this is your plan. This is what you need to have. This is the information you need to go. You can do that all day long. But do you have anybody reviewing it to tell you, I wouldn't do that? I give you a real example. People tell you all the time, if they're after a baby goes ahead and takes this bottle and goes through things, do not try to play with it. I have video evidence of daughter number 2 puking in my mouth as I was playing with her after she was just breastfed. But you don't know that unless you've actually done it. You're you hear things, but I want somebody, their wisdom, somebody can tell you exactly what speed bumps to miss. And then the third thing is, sometimes your mentor doesn't have the same level of accessibility of what you need. So you need people going through it with you Because your mentor in some ways may not remember all the different components and things it took to get started because they're so far down the road. They're seeing things from a 30,000 foot overview. So the beautiful thing is you have a community with you. Somebody's going through that because you're going to need, while you're in the dirt, to pick up the phone and call somebody and say, yeah, bro, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm at. Makes it much easier, y'all. It makes it so much more fun. And from there, you have the possibility of making things happen. So tactically, why I say those pieces are there and why I was sharing that with my former teammate is that, like, I am here to do those things. Can only do group-based settings, but this is the most amount of intimacy you're ever going to gain from me. Because eventually, there's going to be more people in there, you know? So you're not going to have this level of access. But just know, I'm here to serve, to build out the tools, build out the process, figure out ways to do this most effective as possible so we can actually go live our dreams. So with that being said, and for me to land a plane, I'm going to reiterate it once again. There's 3 things you need, y'all. 3 things alone. You need a plan, a guide to show you how to work the plan, and a community who can raise your lid and hold you accountable on the type of plan you're going to execute on. So with that being said, as always, my friends, I love questions. I love real life. I love things that are happening. So as people message and share things, I'll create content directly for you. That was the basis of this, is knowing that you're not alone in this journey. I'm here to serve. So as always, my friends, stay hungry, stay humble, and stay grateful. And until the next episode, cheers.